How you guys doing? Are you guys ready to face death? Awesome. So am I. Isn't that cinematic just awesome? Gets me really psyched to be here. My name is Josh Mosquera. I'm the game director, and it's a great honor to be here with you guys today to show you some of the cool new things we have in store for you guys for Reaper of Souls. We have a great panel for you guys today. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of Reaper of Souls, I want to take a few moments to talk to you guys about what Reaper of Souls means to us. What are some of our high-level goals we had when we started the project? And for us, it all starts with epic heroes. Where you're the barbarian, or the demon hunter, or the monk, or the brand new crusader, your knight in battle-scarred armor. You guys are playing heroes that are bigger than life, and you're facing the forces of darkness. In Reaper of Souls, we're celebrating the dark, gothic heart that is at the root of Diablo. And we have a slew of new monsters for you guys to kill and loot. And Joe and Julian up here are going to talk to you guys about how our monsters are designed. They live to die. But we're not only introducing new monsters, we're introducing a brand new villain to the world of Diablo in the form of Nephalem, the Angel of Death. And Tim and Zavin are going to talk to you guys about Pandemonium, the final battleground where you guys are going to be confronting Nephalem and trying to stop death. But we're not just stopping there. One of the most important goals for us is we wanted to make sure that there was an end game for everyone. We wanted to make sure that you guys had many different options when it comes to how you play Diablo 3. So not only are you going to have a great story mode, where you're going to see the story of Act 5, the fall of Westmarch and defeating Nephalem, but we're also introducing a brand new way to play Diablo 3. We're introducing adventure mode. And to do that, I want to ask Kevin Martins, our lead game designer, to come on stage and talk to you guys about adventure mode.
Hello, BlizzCon. It's nice to have you all back in beautiful Southern California. So who's had a chance to play adventure mode on the demo floor today? Okay, so those of you who've had a chance to play it, I'm glad you have, and you're still going to learn a lot about how and why we made it. So what problem were we trying to solve? Adventure mode started basically as some core elements of the game that weren't working well together. So ultimately, Diablo is about getting awesome loot and killing monsters to do that. And we have these two things in the game that weren't working well together. On one hand, we've got this big, big world of Sanctuary, and we had it split up into 4 acts, basically. So each of the acts were self-contained. They had cool villains at the end of them, and we had this campaign mode, and that was good. But we also had you play through it 4 times in a row to sort of get to level 60 or to what the end game was. So on the other hand, we also have this big, complex randomization system. We have all of this content, and we have this game with these random tile sets and monster distribution that's random. And those two things didn't work well together. Playing that campaign over and over again and not taking advantage of that randomness was something that we wanted to make a lot better. So we put this core stake in the ground, which was go anywhere, slay anything. So under this idea, this is sort of how the beginning of adventure mode happened, how the genesis of this feature began. So imagine a world where you can start in the Festering Woods and do one of your favorite little side dungeons, have a good reason to do that, have that be richly rewarded. Then go do a boss in Act 3, here's Gom in the Keep. Then go to Heaven, have again a good reason to go there, have this epic, awesome zone and want to go there, and be able to do that freely in one session without having to go out of the game to get back into the game again. So that's ultimately what adventure mode is. This is a brand new game mode. So that requirement that you play through the game linearly, that's gone. You can play when you want to. Not only, thank you. Endgame for everyone that Josh mentioned, not only is adventure mode an endgame, it's also somewhere where you can level up your character. So we have this awesome new campaign in Act 5, but you don't have to play that in order to get to adventure mode. Adventure mode is this new mode. You can play where you want to. So a lot of you are probably already familiar with this request because you've made it yourselves. Why don't we just unlock all the waypoints? So we went way beyond that. So this is a new map of Act 3. You can go to any act, you can go to any waypoint in it at any time. You can jump all over the game, up to and including Act 5. So adventure mode, again, is a separate mode from the campaign mode. That said, we've taken all of our favorite moments from the campaign, all of those story battles that you enjoyed, all the little side scenes, all of the events and the random parts as well, and we've combined them together into an adventure mode. So the story, essentially the quest, just gets out of the way, but it's still freely playable. Your character can go back and forth between the modes at any time. So the two features that adventure mode boils down to, the way that we deliver this to you, are bounties and Nephalem rifts. These are the sub-features of adventure mode. Bounties essentially are very simple. These are the tour guide through that world. You now can go anywhere. Bounties are the way that we suggest where you should go. So Steven's going to go through this in a lot more detail in just a moment, but essentially all our favorite parts of the game are given to you, and it's a rewarding way to play. Variety has become the most rewarding way to play. And then Nephalem rifts. Nephalem rifts are that promise of that randomization that we do, all those tile sets, all these monsters, all these technical systems to make the game as replayable as possible. This is that replayability writ on an epic scale. This particular example, here's Act 4 and Act 3 monsters fighting together in Whimsyshire. Notice the rainbows and everything. I like to call this Grimsyshire because it's dark and it's night. No one laughed at that at the office either. This particular image shows also that we have random weather and lighting everywhere as well, and that includes the hub. So you get to go see Chaldeum at night and other areas too. So that might seem like a minor thing from a feature point of view, but it does make everything feel better as well. So to go in a lot more detail on bounties, here's Stephen Wong.
So as Kevin just mentioned to you, we opened up the world. We opened up all acts and all waypoints at once, but it wasn't quite enough. When we were playing with it internally, we had some problems. Single player, some people wanted to have a little bit more guidance. They were overwhelmed by all the different options that were now available to them. And in multiplayer, a lot of times the party would get separated because there wasn't any one goal keeping the party together. So you'd have 4 different players off in their own corner of the world. So what we decided to do was bounties. And what bounties are random quests that are given to you at the start of the game, and they take place in all 5 acts, and they take advantage of all the different content that's inside of Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls. Bounties will take you through all the bosses, all the events, all the side dungeons, everything that we've put into the game. Now we put a focus onto that with bounties in adventure mode. So at the start of an adventure mode game, you'll get 25 random bounties, 5 in each act, that you can go and complete. Now, we're not putting the game on rails. You can still do everything else inside of adventure mode. You can go wherever you want to, but if you opt into this, then you can go and do these bounties and collect your rewards afterwards. So let's take a look at some of the different bounty types we have. The first bounty type is killing a boss, right? So we've taken all 15 act bosses that are in Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls, and we made a bounty for each one. And in this example, you're going to go kill Queen Aranya in the Spider Caves. So you'll find the entrance to the Spider Caves, go inside, slay your way through to the Queen's chamber, and destroy her, and you'll collect your reward. The next type of bounty that we have is completing an event. And in this example, it's in the Festering Woods, and you will go and complete the Last Stand of the Ancients quest that's inside of the Festering Woods and complete your reward. And this lets us put the spotlight on a lot of the different events that we have in the game that might be a little bit out of the way of normal gameplay, but now with a bounty quest for them, you'll go and find them and do them, and it'll add a lot of diversity and randomness to the game. Our third type of bounty is killing a unique monster. And in this example, we have a bounty for killing Mira Eamon, the blacksmith's undead wife. And you might remember her from story mode, where you'll go into the blacksmith cellar and take care of her because the blacksmith needs you to do this, and that's how you advance the story in the game. But what we've done in adventure mode is we've moved her out of the cellar into random distribution in the Festering Woods, and you'll go out, explore, find her, and kill her, and you'll collect a reward after that. And what we've done is we've taken a lot of the uniques that are in the game, uniques like Mira or Jondar, and we've put them into random distribution, and they're now bounty targets. Our last kind of bounty is clearing a dungeon. And this is our version of Diablo 2's Den of Evil. And in this example, you'll go to the Khazar Den in Fields of Mystery, and you'll lay waste to all the things. and you'll collect your reward afterwards. And what this kind of bounty lets us do is take you through all the different kinds of side dungeons that we have that, again, may be off the beaten path right now, but because there's a bounty, you're going to go do them, and you get experience, all that content that we've built for you. So I've mentioned rewards a lot, and let's take a look at what you're going to get by doing bounties. So you're going to get golden experience, of course, and we want to make it worthwhile for you to be doing these things, right? Like, it should be pretty good reward for you to be doing bounties, right? You're also going to get access to powerful items. And lastly, you're going to get Rift Keystones. And to talk about what Rift Keystones are and what they open, here's Jesse McCree.
Hello, BlizzCon. I'm super excited to be here to talk to you about Nephalem Rifts. Previously, we referred to these as loot runs. And what they are randomized dungeons. So what we've done is we've taken all of the tile sets, all of the dungeons in the game, and we've organized them in new and interesting ways. So we've taken the cathedral, all the exteriors, and all the monsters and shuffled them up. So every time you do one of these, it's random. Since they're self-contained areas that you go into, we can do things in them we wouldn't normally do in the campaign mode. For example, we'll do combinations of monsters that you wouldn't normally see. We'll take monsters from different acts, and we'll put them together. We'll take multiple types of summoner and put them together, so you can get quickly overwhelmed if you don't deal with those threats. We'll play with monster density. So this is the place where things can get a little out of hand. And every time you go in, the monsters randomized, the number of monsters randomized, so every floor can be different. Some will be a little sparse, some can get really out of hand. For example, the picture behind me. So, like I mentioned, they're randomized dungeons, and what we've done is these are 1 to 10 level deep dungeons. In the game right now, the deepest we go is 2 levels, so every time you transition from one level to another, it can be a different dungeon, and it'll have a different combination of monsters. And we'll mix up the type of dungeon you're going through. For example, we'll start in a cathedral, we can go into a root cave after that, go to a crypt, or you could have one level that's just a big exterior zone. Or you can go from exterior into a Zoltan Cool dungeon or something like that. So there's all kinds of different ways we put these together, and every time you do them, it's different. So, like I mentioned, these are self-contained, and we can do things that we wouldn't do in the campaign mode, like give you crazy buffs. So in the exterior world, we'll give you little buffs, but in Nephalem Rifts, we'll do things like give you AoE lightning that'll one-shot everything. We will give you no cast cooldown or invulnerability, and that really helps when you come across some of these really crazy populations that are hard to deal with. You get some really exciting kind of buffs happening. Now, to cap off every Nephalem Rift, we have a boss. And what we've done is instead of fighting them in an arena, we actually spawn them in the dungeon with you. And this is more similar to D2. So you'll have to deal with the monsters that are in the dungeon as well as the boss that spawns. And these are random bosses. We've taken the existing ones and we've created new ones, and we've randomized their powers and abilities. And what I'd like to do now is show you a quick video of some Nephalem Rifts in action that you're going to play with the Crusader.